Thank you for being here, Lindsay. I'm so excited to have you here so we can talk about your co-parenting journey. I feel like you've shared great wisdom to me behind the scenes. And I think this is really great for our guests to learn from you and your unique experience. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where did you grow up? All that.
Okay. My name's Lindsay Russell Mitchell. I grew up in South Seattle, Rainier Valley. I had a single mom growing up, but I still saw my dad all the time on the weekends. So I had a first glance at kind of a co-parenting relationship.
Right.
My parents are best friends to this day.
Oh, really?
But it wasn't always that way.
Okay.
So I think
We might need her on the podcast too.
right. I think they both had a little bit of growing up to do, and I think that me and myself can say the same for me and my co-parenting relationships. Fast forward, I went to all my public schools in my areas. I actually went to an alternative art school in high school. Was able to graduate early at 17 and then do the Running Start program to get kind of some extra credits. But had my first son at 23.
Okay. That's the same time I had Dior.
Yeah, 23. And I think luckily in my teen and early 20 years, had my sister's fake ID. So I got a little bit of that kind of...
She's your older sister?
Older sister.
Lacey, okay.
Had a little pre-parting out of the way. So it kind of, I felt like I wasn't going to be missing out on all this stuff by having my son at 23. I was a young mom, but I wasn't, extremely young.
Right.
And in the first parts of that relationship with him and his dad, I think it was pretty rocky. And I think we're both kind of figuring out how to be parents and then how to be parents that weren't together.
Right.
So I now have another child
Yes.
who's 3. So I have my oldest who's 12, my youngest is 3, and 2 different dads.
Okay.
And at first, I think when I got pregnant with my second son, I was kind of like, dang, the family unit that I thought was going to be was just not... didn't transpire that way. But I think that's just like what we're indoctrinated from movies, television, everything of like what you're supposed to do, go to school, go to college, find somebody, get married, have a family.
Right.
But also I didn't have a successful marriage in my household to look up to. Neither of my parents were ever married. Well, actually my mom got married later, but that's a whole nother thing. They're divorced now. Yeah, a little bit in the weeds.
Okay.
But to be honest now, looking back, that single momness, even before my second, it was kind of like a superpower.
Okay.
But I didn't always see it that way. I think people or women sometimes either say themselves or somebody else might say like, oh, well, I'm a single mom. And it's kind of like a crutch of like, well, I couldn't do this because I'm a single mom, or I need help because I'm a single mom, or, well, I'm a single mom, but it's actually like a superpower within us,
Right.
Because some of the strongest people that I know are moms and are single moms. And I think I always want, and we've had this conversation before, I wanted things to be like even.
Right.
Like if I put in 50%, I want you to put in 50%. If I put in $100, I want you to put in $100.
Right.
I wanted things to be equal and fair in my mind, but I was kind of expecting like an elephant to climb a tree.
Right.
And I had to say, you know what? This isn't fair. Life isn't fair.
Right.
You just have to suck it up. And maybe I'm going to put in 70% and this person's going to put in 30%. And until I got that notion of 50-50 out of my mind, that actually allowed my oldest son's dad to grow up on his own. And I just kind of met him wherever he was at and supported him wherever he was at with no judgment.
Right.
And that kind of allowed him without the stress or without the I'm taking you to court, never took him to court, never put him on child support because I didn't need to, because he just was able to step up on his own.
Right.
He buys the majority of his clothes. He pays for all of his sports stuff with football.
Oh, wow.
Takes him almost every weekend. The weekends he doesn't take him, he calls him Friday, takes him for a haircut.
Oh,
Every single evening he calls him between 4 and
Pops.
5, checks on his day, and also really make sure that he is supportive and respectful to me, even though we haven't been together since I was about 5 months pregnant.
Okay.
But he's always made sure, no matter what's going on in our relationship, he always wants Bentley to respect us.
Yes.
And also something I'm really mindful of is that Bentley didn't see a tumultuous relationship between the two of us. We had one really big blowout fight, And it was really traumatic and scarring for him. And it's something that I want to never have him in. And me and his dad have since sat him down. We both apologized. We had to apologize to each other.
Good for you guys.
And it's something, that's something within itself. It's important to apologize for your behavior to your kids.
Yes.
It's really important. And it's hard because we want to, like, that right and might kind of takes over. But sometimes it would explode my stress and anxiety of the day or my overwhelm, and I would take it sometimes out on the kids. Or I would take it out on the kids.
Kind of human.
And it's not that what they did set me off, but I was just already irritated, and I just kind of hammered down on them, unfortunately. So I think it's good to have the humility moments as a parent to say, you know what, I handled that wrong, and it wasn't your fault, and I'm really sorry, you know. And I think that opens up just different doors for communication between you and your kids as a parent. So I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place.
No,
but
that's great.
My brain kind of sparks that way. But
it's perfect.
Allowing me to meet, Bentley's dad where he was at, it's the relationship between us and the relationship between him and his son only got better.
Awesome.
And then he was able to, he's been at his job, I think now like 5 years, like a steady job, not hustling. Like,
all right.
I'm all for the modern man must hustle, but like legit job, talking about buying a house in the future. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. And it just really created a really strong bond between him and a very big mutual respect between me and his dad.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, my new partner, my youngest son's dad, him and Bentley's dad are tight.
Oh, wow. Wait, pause. I do want to go back to the point you made, because we've talked about this, like you said.
Yeah.
I learned so much from you because, we were in a Clubhouse chat group at some point talking about like that whole expecting 50-50, because we both put 50-50 into this, right? To some degree. But yet you saying that you're like, hey, I'm going to just stop fighting this elephant going up the tree thing, right? I'm going to stop fighting that and just allow them to show up the way that they do. You saying that kind of just took some pressure off of me in a sense. Like I learned, like, by continuing to force something that the person's not going to deliver on, they may not have the capacity or the ability, the maturity, whatever it is, that actually relieves me of stress. It relieves them of stress. They're not being told that they're not enough repeatedly and being reminded that. And then I'm not being disappointed all the time. I'm not having these expectations that aren't being met. They're fair expectations, but it is what it is. Like you said, life just isn't fair. And so I know a lot of the moms that I know in this world, they're like, we have no problem going above and beyond for our kids, and filling the gaps. And so I just watch you do that so beautifully. And your patience and the fact that you got to see the other end of it, like him kind of mature, like you said, and grow into some things. And now, like, the blessings of that, I think that's something a lot of moms in some cases probably need to hear, and fathers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I think it works both ways. There's, fathers that put in a lot more sometimes.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely.
And I think, they sometimes don't get the credit that they deserve because people just assume that, a mom is supposed to step up and a mom is supposed to do this. And that's not always the case. And I think we know some dads that do more than 50%.
Absolutely.
And and I also had to check myself and my privilege of my upbringing and having support of both of my parents. Okay. Having the white privilege, even though I'm a mixed woman, I have this white privilege. Okay. His dad, Bentley's dad as a black man, didn't have that privilege, right? So he didn't have the same family support that I had growing up. So he didn't have, I think, all the same tools in his tool belt. Didn't mean he was a bad person or a bad father. He just wasn't equipped with all the tools that I had.
That's
you know what I mean?
Empathy.
Or that I was exposed to, right? And then different people step up at different times. I think we mature a little bit faster. I think he had to go through his experiences. I had to go through my experiences for us to show up in the way that we are now. Right. And then, both of my, I hate to use the word baby's dad or baby's mom, but both of my kids' dads met, and my youngest's dad actually respected and talked really highly about Bentley's dad even before meeting him,
Oh,
because he
really?
saw what he was doing. He saw him picking up Bentley. He saw him bringing clothes. He saw him talking to his dad. He saw him coming home from the haircuts.
And he wasn't threatened by that.
Not threatened by it. He respected it.
I love it.
Because what attracted me to my current partner, Hendrix's dad, was two things: his work ethic and how good of a dad he already was.
Oh, that is so attractive.
So, and it's not easy. It's it's definitely a learning curve. It's not easy also having a blended family, right?
You are blended.
Adam had, kids before. He's got one that's in the house. I have one that's in the house, and then we have one together, right?
Okay.
His, mine, and ours.
Yes.
So there's different dynamics that we, are still working
That's
on
a
right
couple
now.
of dynamics, yeah.
I lived, pretty much by myself with my son for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And then now I have
Very
a blended,
independent.
very independent. Now I have a blended family. So there was things I was used to doing already with me and my unit. And now I have to stretch myself and be open to different things. And yeah, we had to kind of come together of like, hey, we got to have a few like routine type things. Like everybody can't have different bedtimes. Everybody can't, we have to get on the same page with some things because it's hard to make 3 different personalities all happy at the same time. When you have a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 12-year-old, they have different interests, different food likes and all that. So I think years ago, like when our parents were little, it wasn't like they made every kid happy. It was like, this is what we're doing.
Right.
We're going to the park. You go happy or you going to cry.
Right.
That's it. Now we have just so much choices and all these different things for entertainment. And I think, maybe we need to settle down. I actually, a few weeks ago, boxed up half the Christmas toys and all these things because I'm like, we just have too much stuff in the house, too many options, too many toys. We just need to get rid of this stuff.
Right.
We got some Legos. We got this. We got that.
Perfect.
That's it. And I will trickle those toys out here and there. Oh, I remember that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just too much.
I love that strategy.
So eliminating that and just having a little bit of, not like we have this full schedule, but just some boundaries around certain things.
Right.
We eat around a certain time. Bedtime is this time.
Right.
Bentley has a different bedtime, but he's, goes off in his room. But the littles kind of have to be on the same schedule.
Okay.
Because people get jealous and we don't want anybody upset. And if the baby's crying, I'm crying. And then, So we had to kind of find some common ground to get all kind of be on the same, not on the same note, but to where we can, live fluidly together.
Right.
And we're, definitely still working on that. And in my relationship now with my youngest's dad, there were things that I had to, because we're still co-parenting, right? We're co-parenting even though we're together, but there was things I had to, in the similar way with Bentley's dad, I'm like, well, I'm the one that's doing this and I'm doing that and I'm doing that. But then I had to step back and realize he's doing things. He could help me with laundry or cook or whatever, but he's doing things that I really don't want to do or I don't know how to do.
Right.
So I let him do his things, like outdoor stuff, washing the cars, mowing the grass, building the shed. Can I do those things? Sure.
Oh,
I've been
you
washing
absolutely.
my car. I used to love mowing the grass.
So independent.
But I'd rather like fold some laundry and, listen to a podcast than be out there like cleaning needles off the roof.
Right.
So I let him do the things that he wants to do and he shines at. And he takes a lot of pride and ownership of that kind of thing. So I let him do it. Even though I could do it, I let him, it's like letting him be a man.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put like man's work and women's work, like women cook and clean. And he is the cleanup man. He is the cleanup man, I swear. I'm the cook, he's the cleanup man.
Okay,
I don't think I should do both. I don't think I should clean. I don't think I should like go buy the groceries, cook the food, and then clean it up, right? I'll go to the grocery store, I'll cook up a meal, and then he cleans it up.
Okay,
Or him and my
you guys
oldest
got a
will
good
clean it. I mean, the
system.
oldest is like, his dishes is his job.
So I want to ask, you said that their dynamic is good, Adam and your first baby daddy, if you will.
It's A and A, Anthony and Adam.
A and A.
Yeah.
What do you think drives it? Do you feel like you play a role in that connection?
I think so. I think I never ever want to paint or talk about anybody in a bad light.
Right.
So even when the early parts of when, Bentley was a baby and me and his dad weren't seeing eye to eye, I would never like share that or expose him to that. I always wanted him to create his own opinions of his dad and me never try to taint that in any way. And it really didn't have anything to do with him. It's like he was a great dad, period. So I think, my current partner watching my co-parenting relationship, gave him a little insight of what it would be like to have a child with me and be with me. He's also watched me help his son in
Talk
ways,
about that.
you know.
Are you a stepmom, bonus mom?
Yeah, I call him my bonus son, but yeah. And
what does he call you?
He calls me Lindsy.
Oh,
yeah, he calls me Lindsy.
Sweetness.
So I've helped put tools in Adam's tool belt to be a better dad.
Okay,
and having homework time, and we incorporated reading every night. That wasn't something that he really did in his household prior. Again, tools in the tool belt and things, and how I grew up with somebody that read to me. So it was important. So just incorporating those kind of things, and then I also know that. Bentley's dad respects me highly, so he knew if there's a new man in my household, he's got to go through Bentley.
Yeah.
Bentley is the deciding factor.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? And I wasn't somebody that really dated a whole lot in those years with Bentley, so he wasn't like exposed to a lot of boyfriends or anything. So he was a little, not intimidated, but kind of like, who's this guy?
This?
You know what I mean? Sitting next to my mama. But watching how good Adam was with Bentley, made me realize, I can have another one with him. He's gonna be okay, And then seeing when them two met, both baby daddies in the driveway, they were out there talking for like 10 minutes. And he was like, and Adam came in, he's like, man, he's cool as hell.
They're both really, I've met them both. They're both very chill, good people.
They're good guys, and we go to football games all together because Bentley plays football, so I'm there with Adam, and his dad's there, and so we're all sitting together. You know what I mean? It should be. And it seems a little weird, but I'm like, this should be normal.
It should be normal.
It should be normal. And yeah, it's just very mutual respect. Anthony needed his brakes done. Adam did his brakes one day. And then when he said how much, he was just like, just give me whatever. You know what I mean?
Adam
he tried to give him $80 and he gave him 40 back and was like, this is fine.
God.
He's like, it's all good. So that kind of thing. It's also, I think, just community.
Yeah.
We're in the same community. A lot of people know me and Bentley's dad.
Right.
Not like we're prominent people, but people just, they know who we are. I mean, when I remember taking Bentley as a baby, people be like, oh, that's Bentley. I'm like, how do you know that's Bentley? Or that's Kenny's son. Or, they all know. So yeah, I think that, me being in the middle of that and not being, crazy just kind of helps set the tone.
Right.
It's mellow. You know what I mean? It's just super mellow, and it kind of is easy and feels natural.
Right.
I
love that.
Yeah, I think it's just still we're working on just getting the flow of the household, because it's interesting. Like for this weekend example, we only had Hendrix, so that's like a quiet. It's like to us, that's like when we have no kids. It's just we just have the baby.
It's almost like
almost like having
rounding
no kids.
down.
Yeah, it's like rounding down. He's at his dad's, and then his son goes to his mom's, and so it's like we have like kind of a quiet weekend. Because to be honest, when you got multiple kids in the house, and then all of a sudden you have no kids, we almost like don't know what to do with each other. We're like, what do we do? Like
the world's our
what
oyster.
Do we do? I know. It's like, what do we do?
Go to a movie?
Yeah. What do we do?
What's your relationship with your stepson's mother?
We have he FaceTimes his mom all the time, and he'll kind of be like, hey, say hi. So, it's very cordial.
Okay.
When Adam still actually lived, with her, even though they weren't together, in the early part of our relationship, I would see her, what I mean, when I would bring Hendrix over or stuff like that. Bentley would go over there sometimes and hang out. So I think it was cordial, but it's not like we're best friends, but it's not like we don't like each other. I think it's just mutual respect. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's all you need. I mean, at the bare minimum, respect and what have you. But I do hear about those families who try to go on vacation. I just heard a family yesterday. I'm going to interview them in a couple of weeks. They go on blended family vacations. I'm like, I don't know that I need to do that, but that is cool.
Well, I'm very inspired at your co-parenting relationship.
Thank you.
Because you are able to have some of those Mother's Days together. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I've, seen you with his, Dior's little brother and stuff like that. So I think that that's just a very classy way to just, be respectful. And I think that it's only going to do good for the kids.
Exactly.
All of the kids involved.
Exactly. For sure.
And we were able to bring, Mason, my bonus son, to, Hawaii last year for a little while. We weren't able to because I think, for whatever reason was going on in his other household. I don't know if it was, trust or whatever, but I'm glad that it was finally like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You can take him.
And we
You
got
can-
to see you that.
and we
Was
got
that the
to-
first time?
That was the first time he'd ever been on a plane.
And we saw you that time in Hawaii.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes, that was that time. And that was his first time ever out of Washington.
Oh my
So that was a big deal. So I
gosh.
think she realized, you know, I'm an extra person that loves on this boy, wants the
You're
best
a
for
good
him.
woman.
I want to expose him to different cultures, a different
Right.
world, and get him on a plane. And,
Right.
you know, and if somebody's wanting to do that with your kid, I think she was like, you know, this is good people.
Yeah, that's
know what
good.
I mean?
Yeah, sometimes it takes time to build that trust or whatever else is going
Yeah.
on. Who knows? Could be could be interpersonal or what have you. But I'm glad that she got to see what we all see, which is that you're a really good woman, and that exposure is so important. I know that that's something that we've always had pride in with our blended family, is that I bring certain things to the table. Keisha has brought certain things to the table, and his dad brings certain things to the table. And none of us can replicate that. And there's so much value in each of that. I think
Yes.
sometimes where we get into trouble is when we start thinking that we can dip into that other side, or like we're experts in things that we're not.
Yeah.
That's been challenging for us recently. But
It's like
But
you
yeah.
can't tell people how to live.
no.
You can say, these are the rules at my house, and this is
Right.
how it works in our household.
Right.
You know, but there are different, you can't tell somebody how to live. You know, you can maybe advise or
Right.
something, or say, you know, there's something that works in art, but
Right.
you can't really tell somebody how to live. And that can be challenging.
It can be, especially if
know?
it impacts the child. Like, one of the challenges we've had is, I think Dior should play a sport. I felt like that was a no-brainer, but that's something that they do not share. In that opinion. And he has ADHD. I think he needs to be active. He's in school all day, like sitting around. He needs
just
to move
some
his body,
kinda-
and teaches so many great things. I played lacrosse all the way up into college, and so I have a lot of value and strength and discipline and character that I developed in
Teamwork.
sports.
Yeah.
And so that has been a pain point. It's like, okay, your house is your house, my house is my house, but Dior needs to play a sport. Like, yeah, so that's been challenging, bringing them along with that. But we've navigated it to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure.
I think one challenge that me and Adam actually just recently talked about this is we have to like schedule some us time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
We both have busy schedules. We both kind of can make our own schedules. It's not like we have traditional jobs.
Right.
So,
okay.
but we also then, it's like if I'm working, he's got the kids. If he's working, I have the kids. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we have to have some time together, even if it's just a couple hours a week. So that's something that we have had to say, you know, it's like, I love that you're the super good dad, but don't forget about me.
Right, right. I need,
You know
I
what I
need
mean?
some
Put a
love.
little something, and, and he might think, well, we just went to the museum.
You were there.
Yeah, we all just did. You know, and he wants me to be a part of everything, which I love.
Right.
But I want sometimes just us time.
Yes.
You know
of
what I mean?
course. Yes,
So that was
you
something
need that. The kids need you to have that.
Yes, and I mean, and he's great. I mean, he's the type of guy that before he leaves, he always hugs and kisses me. When he comes home, he always hugs and kisses me.
He worships
He
the
tells me
ground
I
that
love
you walk
you
on.
like 20 times a day. He says it before he gets off the phone, before I say it. So it's not that like I don't feel loved or
Right.
but sometimes I want a little bit of alone time. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So that's
that's
something that
fair.
we've had to, with different schedules and, you know, do we have this night or that night? So having to, you know, just come to the same page on.
Right.
Because what I think is quality time and what he might think are a little bit different.
Okay.
You know,
Got
or
it.
like
well,
when
what are the difference? Like, what do you?
Well, I just want alone time, and it doesn't
Okay.
have to be anything out of the house. Like,
Okay,
we can watch a movie,
got
we can,
it.
you know, massage each other, we can get in the hot
Got it.
tub.
You have a hot tub? Oh, the
Got a hot
tub outside that you built? Oh, so
well, no,
cool.
that's just the bathtub. But, there's like, it's one of those Costco like inflatable ones.
Hey, I'll
so it's
take
really
it.
like 3 people if you like each other.
Okay.
You know, it's not like a 6-person one, but yeah. But it's just
Yeah.
you know, you basically
Sounds
blow
great.
it up. But just something like that.
Right.
Maybe we cook a meal together. He has a sports history with playing, you know, baseball through college. He was on a
Okay.
Filipino league that was
Really?
international. He's played like in Canada and Las Vegas and different places. And so just him telling me, we just talked for hours one night. He was telling me all about baseball and sports and this and that, and just some core memories. And
Right.
it gave me a little insight into him. And we're just like laying, you know, like looking at the stars, just like talking. So
Right.
just stuff like that.
Right.
Doesn't have to be about money. And sometimes, and I think he looked at it as like, if we're doing stuff, we're doing
Right,
stuff. You know what I
right.
mean? And so it was like, I think we have to sit back and not like put each other in different shoes, but we have to know like what's our different love language. And it's not that he
Right.
was doing anything wrong.
Right.
You know, I was just saying, hey, this is something that I need.
Right.
And then we kind of get on the same page.
Right.
You know, kind of like the whole, you know, somebody could say, well, he never helps me with the laundry or he never does this.
Right.
Well, maybe he's working all day. Maybe that's just not his thing. Maybe he wants to come home and just play with the kids.
Right.
And that's where, you know what I mean? And that's what you have to be happy about. And like you got to pick and choose.
Pick your battles.
You just got to pick your battles.
Right.
Exactly. It's like, maybe I don't like the way he cooks something, but he's cooking. You know,
Hey,
he's
I'll
like,
take it.
He's like, babe, this is my night you wanted me to cook because you had a meeting and now you're in here critiquing how I'm cooking. And I had to realize he was right. So also taking that, not criticism, but feedback and being like, you know what? You're right. I wouldn't want to be trying to clean a bathroom and then have him telling me you're using the wrong thing and what do you that's not how you do it.
Right.
You
People
know,
are like that.
and then I'm like, oh, that's what being a nag is.
Oh,
dang
I
it.
know.
But,
you just wanted a certain way.
I know,
But
and
yeah.
I'm like, okay.
At this
Yep,
point,
I'm like,
I'll take
nope.
anything.
Yeah, I'm like, nope, step back and let him cook the food. It's not going to be how you cook it.
Right.
You know, in the beginning, when he would have over before we lived together and he'd have the baby, you know, it's like I would want things done like how when he was at my house. And I'm like, he's not at your house. He's gonna put him to sleep different.
Right.
Is his dad. He loves him. Is
He'll
it gonna be like you? No, but he's gonna be okay because he's with his dad. So again, it's that control. I don't know what it was, but it was like, you got to trust that he's going to do the right thing. He has other kids. He knows how to do this.
Right.
You know, he's got more than you. So he's got more experience than you, if anything.
This is not his first rodeo.
Not his first rodeo.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to kind of check ourselves sometimes, or I've had to check myself a lot and say, you know what? Just let it go.
Right.
It's not that serious. You know, he's a great dad. He's a good man. He loves you. He ain't perfect. And no one can do it like you, Lindsay.
Exactly. No one can. Lindsay, I gotta say, like, I remember when I first met you and your mom, or at least when I was starting to really get to know you guys, right? And because your mom and I worked at the same company for a little bit, we would always cross paths and shoot the breeze and stuff. But I just love that you guys, I don't know how to explain, you guys know how to live. You know how to have a good time. You guys are great energy. I mean, you guys go on yearly trips to beaches. And I'm like, that is amazing, to that point of like what people think a single mom does versus what a single mom can do, right? Yeah. Like I really saw that example. Like, no, we go to the beach, Hawaii, Bahamas, whatever it is. You guys go every year as a family. You bring Bentley and now the whole family, right? And so I just think that's really beautiful, a great example, especially for moms who are like bogged down. They're doing all the work and like there's this idea of like you got to just hustle and you can't have fun. But I love that you guys know how to have fun. I remember the first time I came to your home, y'all had the deck all like tricked out, if you will. There's so many fun things for the kids to do. There's fun things for you guys to do. Like, where does that come from?
You know, it's from my mom, and she did that to the house we had growing up. And what she wants to do is bring the elements that we love on vacation, which is like tropical, Caribbean, like
you have a banana tree.
Yeah, like vacation vibes. We have palm trees, we have banana trees. She wanted to bring that to the backyard so we wouldn't have to vacation as much. We'd have a little bit of that here. And in Seattle, we have such great summers.
That's true.
So we usually like to stick around. So summertime, like pretty much like from April to September, we're outside on that deck. We're in the backyard. That's just where we are. So it's like an extension of the house, extension of the home. And I think we all figured out during COVID, we just need some space and to have some space for the kids, you know, the trampoline, whether it was the pool. I remember having Dior over in the summer in the pool, and just keeping kids home and happy and healthy. But really, it's from my mom. She just has a really cool vibe.
She's so cool.
And just, you know, planting beautiful flowers. Now she's instilled that to me because now I've got the gardens, right? Now that I've got to manage, and I'm like, wow, this is a lot of work. And it's a labor of love. But there's something that you feel when you walk out there and you see your flowers and your plants growing day by day, and you're watching the ferns unravel, and you get to talk to them and you know, like see how they make you feel and be standing in your garden. And it makes me think about different things in my life of like growth and like planting something and having a restart in different seasons. Like this tree right now I'm looking at, it's bare, but it's the same tree that's going to be full of leaves here pretty soon, and blossoms and flowers, and shedding that old skin and just also having some responsibility and watching something grow.
Right.
But it's also just makes you feel good to be around some of that stuff. And I love when I'm on a FaceTime or I do a video and someone's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "I'm in my backyard." And they're like, "What? How?"
Beautiful.
You know, because of what's in the background. And then, you know, we give away banana trees every year because they reproduce. If you plant a banana tree, it creates a grove. So we give them away because now we have too many, you know, and it's like creating, now all of our neighbors have banana trees because of us.
Oh, wow.
And so now they're having those ooh-ah experiences, and they come to our backyard and then they start redoing their backyards to look like our backyard.
I know, y'all got a
they're
cool
like,
backyard.
they're like, we're inspired now, which is great. So we're, and it's, I don't know, staying home, you spend less money, you stay out of trouble. And I had the house growing up where, you know, my mom was so cool. People came to our house to hang out. People came to our house, you know, because she was really fun, but she also was like about no BS. You know, you don't come over and not look me in the eye. You don't come here and be mumbling.
I love it.
She didn't like mumblers. She'd be like, "That one ain't coming back."
Oh no, you better enunciate.
She'd be like, "No." She goes, "I don't like somebody sitting in the corner acting all shifty," and she was right. You know what I mean?
My mom was like that too.
Those turned out to be people that weren't, you know what I mean, didn't have my best interest at heart or weren't really my friends. And then being able to, you know, take those tropical vibes and take vacations and go to places, you know, I think I need to start expanding a little bit more, going to places like I've never been to Asia. Actually, no, I have been to Asia. Never been to Europe. But like doing things that maybe aren't so tropical beachy vibes. And look more on the historics. But it's just, I'm like, I love being on that beach.
I love it.
And I love just having the kids just playing in the water. And I think all kids should be able to dip their toes in all the oceans, you know? So getting able to provide those experiences is really special, but it's a lot of hard work, as you know. You know, it's different when you buy one plane ticket.
Yeah, that was about 5 plane
and then you
tickets.
got 5 plane tickets. It's like, I think we have friends that maybe don't have kids and they like take, you know, they like take a trip or like for a month and they visit all these countries and take these solo trips. And I'm like, one day I will do something like that. But I just can't right now. You know, but that's okay because this is my, right now, the most important thing I'm doing is my kids. My kids and then I think my business, you know, but my kids are my number one job. That's the most important thing. Because they're like a little piece of the future. Exactly. You know, and they are kind of like going to hopefully continue my legacy, whatever that is. You know? But yes, the ooh-ah vibes, you know.
I love it. And again, I've learned so much from how you parent, how you raise your child, how you live life, even some of the things you shared about plants just now. I hope everyone got a lot out of that just now. But is there anything else you want to share, like a final piece of advice you want to share with our audience to help them as they co-parent?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many things that come to mind. But I think one of the biggest one is just meet people where they're at. Don't set yourself up to be disappointed, like you said, where you have all these expectations that you know that this person may or may not be able to meet or have the capacity, and you're just going to be disappointed every time. And then it's kind of like this. So just have an open mind, have an open heart, because people can change. And, you know, just see the best in people. You know what I mean?
Yes, like, for sure.
Just really see the best in people. And if you see the best in people, I think they'll start seeing that in themselves. You know,
that's so important.
And also be easy on yourself.
Yes.
You know, have that humility because we don't have it all figured out.
We don't.
No.
That is so important. I love what you said about being able to apologize to your child. My mom did that for me when she needed to, and I do that with my son. I asked my ex, my co-parent, to do the same for him as well, because I don't know if that was modeled for him growing up. And so, yes, humility. We'll all get it wrong, but we'll do our best. And we'll all get it right, and sometimes too. So, well, thank you so much, Lindsay. Appreciate
thank you for having me. No, this is great.